All right. Today we are here with Aaryan Shukla. Aaryan is the former champion at the JMCWC, former champion at MSO, and the two-time defending champion at MCWC. He holds the MCWC records for calendar dates, multiplication, and square roots. He also holds the Memoriad record for addition. And he also has the Guinness Book of World Record for Flash Ansan. 2024 Mental Calculation World Cup. That was easily the most impressive mental calculation performance in an in-person global competition. You dominated everything. They didn't have enough questions for you to do. You made a competition that most people feel is very difficult look like it was too easy. So what were your favorite parts of that competition? How did you change your training, your practice? What parts of that were truly easy for you, and what parts of that sort of required you to get better and were a little bit challenging?
Yeah. So basically, what was the main thing in mental calculation World Cup 2024? So when I won in 2022, so I means won in 2022. So I decided to basically, as there are total six, we could say gold medals or first place trophies. So I decided that in next time, if I improve, so I would not just try to win World Cup, but also all the six trophies or first place finishes to basically means dominate the World Cup. So, and in 2022, I won three first places trophies. So basically, I was practicing for each subject. I will improve my scores, whether it would be the standard task or the versatile, basically the surprise task. And seeing in 2022 World Cup, I think almost in all subjects I improved. So from last 2 years, I was just practicing that I would improve in each category. Like surprise task, I practiced various types of. You could say there are like various types of mix task whether, and also in surprise task practice, our GMCA simulator helped a lot, basically, as there are different type of problems for standard task, whether it would be calendar. I like continued my practice and improved my scores. So this was the, and I think the challenging part was here was to maintain the speed for whole 2 years
Yeah.
from 2022 and 2024, to maintain your consistent accuracy and speed. Because if you see the standard task in calendar, you need to maintain your accuracy with speed, because if we do two sums wrong, then our score gets finished or lower. And
Yeah.
in other three, addition, square root, multiplication, there was a negative marking. So keeping the accuracy with the speed was the most important, and improving consistently, because as we see other people or the other competitors also improve gradually. So this was the, I think so, challenging part here to maintain it. And it was also fun that I got to learn many things, basically, in especially in surprise tasks, many new tasks which we generally don't do in standard ones,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. So let's go through and talk about each of the things that each of the different tasks a little bit. We starting with calendar dates. You did 100 on a piece of paper in less than a minute, which is significantly more than anybody else previously did. But obviously, calendar dates can be done much faster on the computer.
Yeah.
So how are you typing as fast as you are? What makes the difference between somebody who can do 80 calendar dates again versus somebody who can do more than 150? And how fast do you think you can get? How fast do you think someone can get in calendar dates?
So about my calendar dates generally journey. So I think basically in calendar, the main I think it's keeping your consistent score, because if you see, even if you don't anybody would not practice for 10 days at loss of and so basically, you also asked one thing, that the difference between uh, the person who do in a good range versus a person who does an like 125 sums under a minute on a software. So basically, I think it's more practice is also one factor. Typing is like one of the main factor in calendar. So like you need to, it can be developed by there are many ways to develop typing. Some people just do like do some 1 2 attempts of typing only consistently with their different codes, or it gets developed gradually by what we say, by doing calendar or its practice. So the main difference is the practice how you do, and second it's how much you put your efforts in. uh,
Do you how fast do you think people can get? Can somebody do 180? Can somebody eventually do 200?
think now, as means I don't know what could be that number, but I definitely think that 200 dates are possible. Even more are possible, but
Okay, not
I
200.
definitely know 200 dates are possible.
So they just had Memorial this weekend, and Jay Baldia Jane is probably your main challenger for calendar dates. Is Jay doing them? My understanding is that Jay is not really a calculator. So is this more of a memory feat for him, or is he actually doing mental calculation?
Basically, the way I know the calendar do, it's basically, and what we say, there are, if you see the methods, generally people do, it's a codes based method.
So
Uh,
is what it is, as he like memorized a list of dates and then he knows like how to adjust, or
No, basically, in calendar, if you see, what I want to tell, there are different codes for the years, the century. Like there are basically for any date, there are various. Many people in India use this method. It was developed by an famous Indian mathematician, Aryabhat, and it is used by many people in India as far as I know. I don't know about the other about the Westerners or the Japanese or the other countries, but basically there are different codes for the basically the day, like 1 2 3, for an year like 2024, no, for 24 25, like that, and century also.
okay, so are you like combining parts of the date and sort of having a reduced to like a specific, like instead of calculating all four
Yeah,
things, you're combining them together? Is that
there are, suppose if we take one date like 9 October 2024. So basically I just convert it into an equation of addition. Basically the way I do it contains 7 steps of addition, subtraction, multiplication.
okay?
So
Okay,
yeah.
I see that. Yeah, that sounds, you've made it easier, which is not surprising. Um, so I mean, it's instantaneous, right? Like it's what's holding you back at this point is just typing a speed. I mean, if like you, it's how fast you can type the answers, not really how fast you can solve it. Because once you've changed it to that,
Sometimes when we do an attempt, any typo errors, so in correcting them, there goes lot of time. So that's why the speed, that's why the score reduces. So in calendar, especially typing is what, because you don't have an more than 1 second, because there are around 125 dates in a minute to do.
yeah.
And now the competition, seeing the competition, you need to do it like 3 seconds per day, or more than two, if you see. So maintaining your momentum and not letting it break is the most important thing, I would say. And it would just come by lots of practice, years of practice.
It sounds like, it almost sounds like there are like people who are like serious gamers or who need to have like a very fast keyboard. They have like separate equipment. Like you might have a keyboard where the keys have like very high sensitivity, or they're very easy to click or something. I mean, this sounds like it could be helpful for calendar dates at this point. You just get some
Some
better
have
equipment.
Some people take an laptop with a very soft keys, like you touch it, it types
Yeah.
so much. Some people use a keyboard like me.
Yeah.
So, so
Okay. So let's move on to addition. Addition is the least mysterious one. I think everybody sort of
yeah.
understands how addition is done, and everybody acknowledges that the Sorbonne competitors are far better than the Western competitors at addition. Um, so and for addition, I'm more curious as to how you got to the point you are today, because we all understand what you're doing. It's just that we can't do it. So like when you were practicing, like the path to getting to the five digit flash ands, what did you practice in order to get to this point? Um, how would you suggest a European practice to try to improve their addition speeds?
So as you told that mystery about the addition is the Sorobon. Yeah. So the Sorobon is an, I think Sorobon greatly increases the time of doing addition, because if you see if you see an Sorobon, there are beads on it, the beads which yeah. Okay, I will also just wait.
All right, we got a Sorbonne.
Yeah. Wait, can I bring it?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. Bring it over.
wait.
All right.
So these beads, basically we make images. So most of the people who do abacus, basically the purpose of doing the flash math or many softwares, this thing is a number, this image. With practice, we just people in starting do it using like this. If you see in in Asia, people first do flash answer with a slow speed, but using this Solomon physically. But with
Yes.
practice, like when we do it with numbers, the numericals we generally all use in the world, you need to visualize it, because the numbers are so fast. How you can do with a speed of 3 numbers per second on the Soroban? Our hands cannot move fast, but our calculation and mind can. So, and in practice, you need to basically improve the picturization or your visualization of Soroban.
So when so I know it's hopeless really, but for those Westerners who don't know Soroban, I'm wondering what strategies are the best way to try to do what you can do. For instance, is flash hands-on training the best thing to try? Should you try? Should you be doing Memorial Standard Edition? Um, and should you be trying to do more columns at a slower speed, or should you be trying to just get as fast as you can doing one or two or maybe three-digit columns?
Yeah. So about the what you said, that I think the flash hands-on training is the best option to improve the addition standard, because I think will anybody learns how to do it at that quick time. I would say, but I see, for means for the people who don't know, flash hands-on training can help them a lot. Um but about, you asked about the mental additions, what we do in memoride. So I think using the columns in which we are expert, in an instance someone is expert in two-digit addition, he should do two-digit only, not try for one or three. Like as because if he tries to do three, four, or five, mistake chances greatly increases, if you see.
Yeah.
So, getting comfortable with an digit, for an instance, someone wants to do it fast. So, if he should first get comfortable with four column or five column before attempting it in a flash Anzan. Basically, flash Anzan is strong, then addition is strong. So both have a great interlinking in between them.
So the five columns that you use, it's I'm many people have seen the five column flash Anzon, but I'm wondering, could you do more columns? I know for like Memorial Edition it doesn't make sense because it's 10 digits. You might as well do five columns. But could you do more columns? Like, is there a flash ends on six-digit numbers, seven-digit numbers? Is it possible? Because a lot of people, I think there are a lot of people who do five, but no,
There
I've
are
never really.
basically see, I what I see, most of people do it generally using two columns. Most the people who do addition, there are very less people who do it four or a five column. Be- Means basically the people with an high score, I think, do generally with three, four, or five, depending on what they are comfortable. And
Yes, so they might not be that fast at it, but so for instance, there's a Chinese American Abacus Academy here in California, that Stephanie Chen was from, and I was talking to many of their recent competitors, and those kids, they just learn five columns. They're not that fast at it, but that's the way they train them. They train them to do the five columns, even if they're not going to be that fast at it. So, but I'm wondering where that five columns came from, because I've never heard of anybody trying to do more than five. Is there a reason why you'd stop at five? I
because I would say first thing is an accuracy one. If we try with five column, there will be two addition, and if we try with six column, there would be also two addition. If you
right.
logically, six and four, seven and three, eight and two, like that, and five and five. So, but doing six digits, there is an I would say there is an very much great error chance. Uh, like many people, very few people can do 6 digit 10 rows. If you
Yeah.
see the flash Hansan marathon, the last sum is basically 6 digit 10 rows, and which is at the speed of 0.6 second per number. Like in 10 numbers would flash at 6 seconds. So this is the one of the major reasons that people are struggling to deal with the number getting bigger, and very few people could do flash and run whole sheet, all 91 sums correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
So and I,
So
so if you had to add like 18 digit numbers, would you try to learn the 6 digits, or would you still just do five? Like if it was 10 18 digit numbers, and if there
I
was an,
like I would try to use, but I would just go with 5 or 4,
yeah, and
because
I
you can't go faster with 6 digits. The problem is that for 5 digits I can do 10 in 3 seconds, or yeah. But for 6 digit, doing it that fast, then writing or typing it would also not let your speed improve. So that's why most of the people, means the top addition players, do just 4 or 5 column,
yeah.
because to keep up the speed is also one of the most important aspects, I think.
Okay, so let's switch to multiplication for a little bit. Multiplication also something that's not very mysterious. The Westerners are doing the same thing that you're doing. Um, we have first of all, I want to start with the 20 by 20 multiplication that you do, because that time is sort of difficult to understand. Did you practice 20 by 20? I'm amazed that you can have the level of focus and to I mean, you didn't really lose much speed switching from 8 by 8 to 20 by 20. It's almost the same speed per like calculation, which is just incredible. So did you practice 20 by 20? Is there any sort of trick on that question that you use, or sort of
Okay,
strategy?
methods are the same only. I like my strategy is like to be more focused is and one thing necessary. And I think most people use like what I saw other people doing. They use hands to, what we say, highlight the numbers, as the numbers are too small and very big number. But the this I when I tried this greatly reduces the speed when you do. So I developed my uh, way of doing, so that I could not use like these hands like this when they use, and increase the focus as much we can. That's why maintaining the accuracy in 20 to 20 is the, I would say, the most difficult part uh, in all subjects, is this, especially accuracy regarding as we see, not only 20 into 20 but other also, like in 8 into 8, the accuracy, most of the people, is one of the biggest issues. uh, so most of the people tend to go slow, but I think in overall multiplication, not only 20 into 20, going with your natural flow is one of the most important things. And one more thing I understand, or what helps me, especially in 20 to 20, for me is the flash and zen practice, because the concentration, for me, the concentration in flash and zen is, as concentration of mind increases, the concentration level is very much important in 20 into 20.
So I have two specific questions on multiplication approach. So on 5 by 5 questions, you are doing cross multiplication, correct?
Yeah.
On 4 by 4 questions, would you do cross multiplication?
uh, if it is an vertical,
Yes, if it's vertical.
If it's vertical, then I would do cross into cross. If someone tells me auditorily, audit means by orally, so it's tough for. So I just multiply it. Uh, yeah, like either like we do 3 into 3. But if someone gives it in me on a piece of paper, vertically or horizontally, or on a computer, then I would just simply do cross by cross multiplication.
So what? So and I think you already answered it in that answer. But so for 3 by 3, you are not going to do cross, even if it's so. But if it's 4 by 4 and it's written on a piece of paper vertically, you would do cross.
Not vertically, any type, vertically or
Any
horizontal.
type. Okay. Okay. And then my second question is the in the traditional Japanese soroban approach, they do the multiplication left to right.
Yeah.
Uh, do you think there's benefits to doing it left to right? I know it does not seem like it is truly is efficient, but it does teach you some sort of advantages in sort of you can estimate the answer really quickly. You can also it also makes it better to remember it if you're trying to do more than one step. But I'm curious. Do you think right to left is faster than left to right, or do you think there are reasons to learn left or right?
Me. So I personally think that right to left approach is far more better than left to right. Or in if you see by the accuracy or the full accuracy part, I think right to left would be better. Basically, the crisscross multiplication way. I don't know how the Japanese people do left to right, but they basically, what I know, they do things like more of an addition or a carryover thing. So
Yeah,
if you see their speed is good in 5 into 5 or 6 into 6, if you see the Japanese competitions or that. But when it comes to bigger like 8 into 8, we see in World Cup, as the calculation gets bigger, their speed decreases, because what I saw, there are lots of complicated calculations or
yeah.
lot. Yeah, that's why I see you can't use left to right in 2020. One of the biggest 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5. So left to right can be useful, but for 8 into 8 or 20 into 20, it's useful. So doing it using it right to left could help in the bigger ones. This is my opinion.
So I don't know if you've ever tried this, but for people like me who have not very good visualization, I have you ever done cross multiplication for more than two numbers, like a times b times c, a times b times c times d? If I give you three 4-digit numbers to multiply, um, how would you multiply three 4-digit numbers?
I use the basically, I don't use the crisscross way because it's not basically possible. I just multiply it 4 by 4 because I know how to do it, and whatever I get, I try to remember it, and then basically just multiply it with the other four using,
Yeah,
I think, this. No, like that. Like suppose there is an 8 digit number, 11111 8 times and 4111. So I just multiply the 111 with each one like that. I think more of an school method or the basic way to do multiplication. Just multiply the smaller number by the bigger number, digits 1, 2, 3 like that, and taking the carryover. So this is there for for four numbers. I never tried that much basically.
Right, right. So this is interesting because you can do cross multiplication for three multiplying a times b times c. You
No,
you
no,
could
I
like
I cannot do it. I use the normal way.
no, I know you don't do it, and I know, but it it was something that I learned in earlier this year when we were doing calculation league, because I can't, when you say you're going to remember the four by that multiply the four and try to remember it, like I'm probably not going to remember it, so so I have to try to do the cross multiplication, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to do the cross multiplication on a times b times c.
You can do it.
Yeah, it's well, for three 4-digit numbers I can do it. For three 5-digit numbers I can do it too, but I might not get it in I didn't do it enough, and I might not get it in 30 seconds. I probably wouldn't get it in 30 seconds. But it's fun. It's a fun thing to learn, and it makes it a little bit more challenging. All right, all right. So moving to square roots, I think this is the most mysterious one. Um, the Westerners believe that the Indian competitors are hiding some secret from them, that they uh, I how do you do a square, like how do you do a square root question, and how much practice goes into it? Because I know the answer is there's not really a secret, but I do know you guys have practiced it a lot, and so there
Yeah.
that is a huge advantage. Um, but yeah, can you give some insight
I
into the square roots?
like many people think not only the Westerners, in India also the people think that the people like the way the speed at which I do, or all other competitors, it's like they have hiding some secret. So basically, it's done using an Vedic maths. There are ancient formulas of like it's not for square root. The multiplication one, the our crisscross way is also one of the Vedic maths only. So basically, in square root, there is a method called duplex way to do any types of square root, whether it would be exact or inexact. So, so there is no secret, like there is a different way, but uh, I think the main thing here is to practice. Like there are many people from Western also doing good square roots, but this
Well, I don't
square
know
root.
about I don't know about many. There's Kalyan, and
No,
then after that, I'm not really sure about it. But yeah, so keep going.
yeah. So in square root, as far as I know, the for exact, if you see, most of the people use the school method only. It's, I think, so most fastest in all. The school method of subtracting and like and a square, doubling it and doing that basically long division. For inexact, I would say long division one is also good option. Most of the people do, but duplex way, it can be found. This method can be found in the books in about the information in Vedic maths, and I think it's the top competitors in square root use this only, as far as I know.
So when you get like a Memoriad and MCWC square root task, the first, how much of the answer is sort of automatic to you? I don't want to say memorize, but how much do you sort of immediately know? At what point do you have to start actually like thinking and like
No, I I don't do anything on assumption. It's just the calculation. I basically calculate everything. Like with time, you get to know after doing the third decimal. I like as this like calculating and digit is like it's less than an half of second of half, like 0.25, 0.3 seconds per digit. So as we go, so I basically, you could say, I don't assume, but I get to know the next digit spontaneously. Like this time is very less comparatively. So that's why like I don't memorize anything in square roots.
Yeah, and I think that the recent scores, in 2018 at the World Cup, getting a score above 40 was considered like amazing, and now the scores have doubled, and people are doing it in under 3 seconds on Memorial, and most of the competitors think that there's some sort of secret, but like it's just a practice. You just have to do it, and the difference is the Westerners, everybody knows how to practice addition and multiplication. That's something you do normally. But square roots takes that extra practice because it's different. It's different, and you have to put in the time. And
Yeah.
yeah,
It's basically, if you see on a natural level, addition and multiplication are one of the main fundamental operations. Like everyone learns it in school or anywhere. But about the square roots, it's basically, it looks complicated a bit to people, square roots, but it's not complicated, I would say. If you ask from my point, I would say multiplication is like accuracy part in square root is good if you are very much fluent in your calculations.
yeah.
And as
So
we but the problem in square roots is, as the answer gets bigger, the toughness, right, like after 6th, 7th, 8th, like after 15, 20 decimals, calculating the correct digit is like very tough.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so let's talk a little bit about calculation league really quickly. Um, Huge variety of questions in the calculation league. Um, I have to give you some like very general questions just to see, are there like new types of calculation? Are what do you think, if you were designing a calculation competition, what kind of things, how would you design it? What would be Aryan's favorite competition? What kind of tasks would there be in it? Um,
Basically, see, if we see, I think we should keep the fundamental, if we want to design fundamental task like addition and multiplication on priority, because uh, if we want to design a competition, it should be according to everyone's point of view. Like most of the people are good in addition or multiplication, and if we lessen its weightage, then it won't help a lot. So that's why I think keeping addition and multiplication is should be on top priority. uh, and I think every subject should have some or what weightage, like square roots and divisions, and to what we say, to toughen the things, we should also increase the difficulty, but also the task we ask in MCWC, the task asking as a surprise, that should be also given a more weightage. And second, I would think mixing operations. The questions like there is a multiplication, and we are just taking out the root of it, or division it in different ways. So I think GMCA simulator and my idea is almost same, just some differences, like I would say some more weightage on addition and all that, and also putting some complicated questions which people by which people would be motivated to do it, and their levels would be greatly increased.
yeah, and so I think one of the challenges especially now that you broke the Memoria software. I think one of the challenges is is coming up with new things for people to do so they keep learning and people have fun. I mean, because yeah, it is fun to try to, break your record or break the record, but when you're putting in a lot of time just to get like a really small amount faster, at some point it's not really like a rational thing to be doing anymore. Like yeah, if you're doing square roots in 2.8 seconds, do you really need to put in a lot of time to do it in 2.6 seconds? I mean, it's not.
No, it's
uh,
not like that. But I think toughen the things would also uh, basically would also add more fun to mental calculation, because people would be like, yeah, we need to do no, more. So adding more things in this simulator or that would help. Like if we see in last 5 to 6 years, there are many subjects which are predominantly added, like fractions. If you say there is a new thing called sum of squares. So
yeah.
these new things getting added is a very good sign that it's good that I think with these things adding up, the weightage on the fundamental operations like division, addition, multiplication, subtraction, and square roots should not what we say lessen up, or should remain, because that's the, I think, the main thing from which other tasks could be designed.
Yeah.
There, there is an also new task called deep root, which is like asking in very many competitions. I see, like this time in World Cup, they also asked the one task related to fourth, fifth, or many roots. There is in also another championship where I saw the papers of like Italian championship they held in Italy. So they also were having seventh root. So, basically, that's a good thing that adding up will what we say improve our learning scope also.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that makes it would maybe help it become a little bit more popular in the West is if the questions sort of took a step towards like practical math, like things like not literally like an IMO contest, but more like practical questions that might be relevant to somebody who's in engineering school or in business
Like
school or like
like that circle question that
well
came in 16.
yeah, so the geometry is tough because a lot geometry mostly requires you to have memorized formulas, and if you don't want to if you're not going to give people the formulas, that's sort of unfair for people. Uh,
I
but
think,
like accounting questions, you could have questions that are used by in the corporate world and in accounting and in engineering, and sort of it would be students in those fields would find it interesting even if they don't really do mental math themselves.
yeah, like there was a question about speed of light. Yeah, basically it was related to what we say the light or the calculation or the physics, but it was also interesting because I think we got to learn decimals. It was
Yeah.
one, yeah. It was
so
not too complicated, but it was not easy also, because you need to get to like small calculations or a very big one like that.
so I don't think you've seen this yet, but the attempt to do something new for the calculation league app is it's exponents, um, but the exponents are decimals. So it's like
You just
uh,
give an example, like how you want to do.
so 8 to the 3.4 power.
I,
It's so it's like in science and engineering and finance, exponents are often decimals. They're not necessarily whole numbers. Like they're usually decimals. But we don't really use that in mental calculation, but it can be done. And right now I think the people who are practicing it are trying to figure out how to do it, but I don't know if anybody I don't know if anybody's figured it out yet.
Yeah, it's like I thought it was an buffer question. Like it was a question to keep to give an break to a contestant. So I would, yeah, I literally thought that only. So
um,
yeah, because I was just confused that how this came up in mental maths like that.
yeah, okay. So I have to ask. So two people that I have to, well, two groups or people that we have to get your opinion on. So first is the Japanese. The Japanese Soroban community has been having large competitions for a long time. Um, Going back to the 1950s, they train their kids a lot. I know they train from a very young age, and they have they have their regional, statewide, national competitions.
Yeah,
Um,
they mainly what I saw about the Japanese competition. They like do very much addition, flash math, multiplication, and divisions.
yeah.
Except this, they are like they don't do a lot of things except this. So that's why. And when I saw their videos, they do very fast. It's lot of competitive. If you see, especially what I saw. In all this discussion of ours, we all the multiplication thing. From that only, I got to understand how they do smaller calculations faster with left to right.
So, and I think when you have the emphasis on doing like smaller questions really fast, I think that's partly it's important for how they've made it so popular in their society because, if you're using smaller questions, it's easier for new people to start practicing. If somebody sees Aaryan doing a square roots question or an 8x8 question or something like that, they just get scared sometimes. Whereas if when you do like 3x3 fast or something, 3x5 or whatever it is, it's easier for people to learn or to try to start practicing. Um, I I think, I think that's the idea. I think their competition is structured to be a much larger, wide scale competition, and so they've sort of decreased the difficulty, and then speed becomes more important.
Yeah, and they select some people who do complicated ones.
So hopefully we can get some of their competitors to sort of join with the rest of our community, and hopefully it would be nice if we had more East Asian competitors and we can make it a much bigger competition.
Yeah,
Uh,
it would definitely what is I think increase the competition first of all.
so and then next we have Wenzel. Uh, what you and Wenzel were obviously clearly better than everybody else in season 1 of Calculation League. Wenzel is not a Sorbonne competitor. Um, what did you see from Wenzel competing? What do you think what do you think what is your perspective on his performance? Where do you think like his your strengths are versus his? Where do you think his strengths are? Um, did you learn anything that like sort of I want to get better at this specific task? Um, yeah, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I think a lot of Westerners look at Wenzel and it's like, how can I do that? So it's very interesting to think about.
I think he the way he does, he's very much natural in doing his calculations. Like If you see, he mostly does all his calculations on an what we say in his like auditory. What I saw his videos, and when I saw it doing on the simulator, and his concentration is and also I think the one thing what I liked and what I personally feel he's an expert in is the calculation of doing the 3 digit multiplying 3 digit number like 3 4 5 times. That was the one thing which shocked me, like the speed he does. So and also I think basically as every top player does, he has developed his entirely different mechanism or his entirely different way of doing mental calculations. What I saw, he just don't do multiplications good, but he's also good in other subjects, which I think makes him an very much like strong mental calculator and what we say and competitor. And this what we say in league, if you see, as the things got tougher, the distance between other and competitors widened. So this was one of the things that calculation part when get tough, like if you see, the qualification round questions were easier
Yeah.
compared to the finals or the playoffs. If you see, finals were just done by two people, but for playoffs there was done by a lot of people. Like there are around 10 people who have done the playoff. So if you see, the as the things get tougher, his calculations are getting good, better.
And it's what's interesting to me is I like the distance definitely became bigger between the very top competitors and sort of the middle competitors, and it's that when the numbers get bigger, the visualization gets bigger, and that sort of the visualization requirement becomes more difficult. So you've mastered the visualization through learning the Sorbonne. You have the 5 digit flash Anzan performances that are incredible. um How exactly Wenzel can do the visualization, I have no idea. I don't think
He's
anybody.
very much good at memory. What I saw, he is like he also does memory. It's my opinion. I don't know, but he's very good at memory. What we
Yeah.
discussed earlier also. He is like I think he's some sort of, he has a good memory. Also, when I saw his videos while going shows, he ability to bend with other things like doing doing football with the multiplication calculation, all that. So he has an different mechanism what many people, like I say, could not try to understand it, because yeah.
Yeah, it's this sort this once upon a time, well, it wasn't that long ago, but when the MCWC started, the Europeans did not, they weren't really aware of like the Sorbonne, how powerful it was. How I don't think anybody expected to see the scores that you did at 2024 MCWC. I think even 6 years ago, I think people would have thought what you did was impossible. Um, and it was a very it was a very I mean, it's when you're my age, it's impossible to think of getting as fast as you've gotten. Um, but trying to think about making mental calculation popular. I think trying to use Sorbonne in America or Europe for a variety of weird reasons, it will never probably happen. But I'd really like to know how Wenzel has his own process of visualization, because that you need to have the visualization, and you have the training, and the top Indian competitors have the training, the top Japanese competitors have the training. Somehow Wenzel is doing it. I don't. Um,
So not like it's not about the specific training. If you take any top five players or top 10 players in our community, everyone, if you see whether it would they would be from the same country, they would have a different practice mechanism. Like some people like what uh, we know that Wenzel usually does using auditory, which we see it's not common in doing practice. Like some people do it on software, some people do everything to what we say for and everything. So I think whether it's not more of an training, it's more of an how you streamline your skills into your own way. It's more important that how you develop your mechanism of doing mental calculation than the methods you learn and the training you get. And
Yeah. And sorry to, I mean, I know this is something that I'm sort of just talking out loud and I don't even have any answers, but because what we saw from calculation was it was, when the Soroban, when the Indian competitors came and the Japanese competitors came, the Westerners got scared away. You guys were too good. When you're doing, I mean, nobody can really hope to do what you did at the World Cup. But then, seeing Wenzel, it gives you a little bit of hope. Like, wait, we can learn that too. If we really try, we can learn that too. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if Wenzel's just like incredibly special and we really can't learn it, and you really need to learn Soroban. I don't know, but it's yeah. I mean, obviously, you and Wenzel have extreme levels of talent. I mean, we can talk about what is Aaryan's approach, but really, other people can try to copy it, and they're not going to get the same results. It's
it's
important to
that I would say if you see it's impossible to copy any mechanism, whether it will be of mine, Wenzel, or any other good calculator, because for each person, like for you as like as we are one of the top mental calculators, you and me, we both have different mechanisms. If we take a common subject in which we are very good at, it's 8 into 8. So your practice mechanism is different, and mine is way a lot different in terms of this. So if you take any two competitors in an same subject, like in multiplication, you and me, in square roots, the other. So there is a lot a different mechanism of practice and what you do and how many hours you do. So I think copying other way could not help, but taking something from other, like from me or me, like any other calculator from one of the top would definitely help, but you need to streamline it like in your own way.
yeah. So we just had a year full of. What are you looking forward to in calculation in the near future? Are you going to do performances? Are there records you want to do? Is there what is Aryan's plan for calculation in 2025?
So my plan in 2025 is like one side there is this competition, the record things, but making the mental calculation more popular or showcasing my skill to a larger audience would be my main focus in 2025. Like as and also focusing on competition part is very important, and also seeing that it would be great that our GMCA competitions in India.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is one thing. Like I and we all the board members or you and me are thinking about also making our league season two after that season 3 bigger, and I hope everything goes well in this
Yeah, yeah.
process.
I do think yes, calculation league India version. I think we can get that. I think we can start working towards that. Um, so I won't ask you to share your secrets, but what specific tasks are do you hope to do something impressive in the near future? What tasks are you currently like? I want a new record or a new impressive import performance. Um,
Uh, so so basically, when first time looking to creating more records is the flash engine task. So my main focus is because if you I what I see that flash engine is one of the subject which is more popular, and second which I'm waiting to do is the calendar dates one, the for doing the most dates. So I hope in the year or soon we could I could do these records, and also of other subjects like square root, addition, multiplication. The records I have records I will try to improve it, for which I don't have I would make an one. So yeah, continuing the process would be one of the most things, but I'm keen on doing flash engine and calendar dates record.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, you've well you and also me we've left the 8x8 record standing. Mark still has his record, even though there are, I'm sure you have endless practice attempts that are noticeably faster, as do I. So so maybe you can do some 8x8 attempts at some point. Um, I know it's the hard it's really the hardest one, right? Do you think it's the hardest one to try to do the record attempts for? It's the longest one, and it's you gotta be accurate for more than 2 minutes.
And also,
Without
if we see the record, the current record of 160 seconds, 162 seconds, there are very less people who try to do it. Like I know you, me, and so that. So basically, I'm looking forward for an what we say for an duel for the record. Like I
yeah,
was keen on 2024, but hopefully we will have it in near future. I supposedly in 2025 or 2026. So yeah, that would be an great thing. Yeah, or and also great show for everyone to watch, not just the mental calculators, but for the other people. That how the mental calculators head to head matches of in World Cup, we have about division, square root, and additions, but for multiplication, there is yet to be a one on one.
yeah. I might be a little bit too old to actually challenge you. I think I think 5x5 is maybe a more realistic one. Because I know 5x5 it takes like a couple days and my speed's back. Eight by eight it probably takes me like a month or two to get my speed back, and it's a lot of hours to
Yeah.
get back to top speed. Um, so what are you doing well, we'll go to one last category here. What are you doing in school right now? Um, what are your favorite subjects? What do you like to study? What do you plan for out in school for the near future?
So, may in school, as if you ask about me, everything is great. I like math, science, and every subject. But now, if you see on my school or the traditional part, I am trying to doing the math Olympiad. The so the preparation of it is going. So this is so on that part, my focus is mainly on the math Olympiad, and I hope it goes well.
So, um, Do you want to do math at university, or are you probably going to do something else? I'm sure you do something that has numbers in it, but is it actually the field of mathematics, or is it going to be something?
It's the field of mathematics only. Like it contains the combinatorics, the
No,
geometry.
no. I know what, so I know what the IMO is, but are you gonna, when you go to university, do you think you'll study mathematics, or do you think you'll study a quantitative field that's not mathematics, or what do you think you'll work on?
I don't have much of an idea, but I think mathematics is one of the field, and means basically I don't have much of an idea, but I wanna means basically do something in mathematics. This is my one of an dream or and target.
All right. Well, we've been talking for a while, so but it was nice to talk to you. I think we covered almost everything. Is there something that we didn't cover that you think we should talk about really quickly?
Yeah, my father would like to know.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have Aaryan's father, who has spent now years watching Aaryan's pursuit of mental calculation greatness. Not many adults have had as close of a as a of a perspective on the mental calculation world, what is going on in it, and it's so let's get some thoughts from him. It's a very unique perspective, and I know you must have put a lot of time and energy into this mental calculation community over the last 8 to 10 years at this point. So what are your thoughts about the mental calculation community? What things do you think would benefit its growth, its development, and public recognition of the subject and the great competitors that are doing it?
Thank you for having me. Uh, Actually, if you see the mental calculation as a field, as we have discussed it, there is a distinct difference between the how mental calculation is work as communities working in the Western Europe and countries like US. Very less number of mental calculators in US. Yeah, yet to know means you are the one, and currently Geomly is staying in USA, but not many people from the North American continent yet. But we can see the Europeans are having larger proportion in the Western world. But if you see the different world of mental calculation, the way mental calculation is working in India or China or Japan. So what we stark difference we see is the Western world is having the lesser number of mental calculators, but they are mostly self-motivated and self-driven. It is more about their own passion to pursue the field than any organized kind of training to them. But if you see the Asia or Northern Africa also now, there are a presence of lot many training institutes and everything. So what is happening is the kids are starting at a very early age in these countries, Asian countries, and out of that large number, very few people like RN are emerging and becoming world level competitors. That is a different issue. But what we can see is there is a definite benefit of learning the mental calculation in the regular school studies or real world also. The most important aspect I observe is means from RN's point of view also. Mental calculation requires you to do the instant action and give the answer, and give the answer without doing most of the intermediate steps. So you have to give the answer immediately. So that is one thing a person can develop. So I see RN at such a young age also facing the situation very assertively. Means I don't see RN as a shy person most of the time, but he is very confident and working with different scenarios in his life also. So apart from the education part and improving your mathematical skills, the mental calculation is basically a process where person becomes more action oriented and very responsive in very less time. So that is one thing we should focus even in global level, and that is one aspect. And secondly, when we discuss about the mental calculation, the way mental calculation in this community is working, I personally feel there are very less number of competitions. for mental calculators. If we see the World Cup, which happens every 2 years, is the real champion means competition where all the top players in the world are participating. Apart from the World Cup, there are not many competitions where all the top players are competing. But thankfully, with our efforts in last 1.5 years and your tremendous hard work to bring everyone together, GMC has successfully managed to complete its season one, and now season two is having even more participation and again rejoining of many old quality competitors again in the season two. So now, and one thing which I think uh, the basically the adaptation of our different thing is like after COVID we are more online now, so that mental block of not having anything online has gone. So now we can have a GMCA conducting its league season online and many top players competing with each other. And the different aspect of GMC is having the head-to-head competition, because in any competition we go, there is no head-to-head competition, but everyone is attempting the same set of questions and we declare the winner. But GMC is the one thing where you compete with every player head-to-head, and then it actually tests your mental toughness also. Because suppose RN is competing with a newer player, that person who is competing with RM will have a different, if he's mentally tough or motivated, he will try to at least compete with Aaryan or Wenzel. But if he's
Yeah.
not that mentally tough, then he will just give up and let the process go happen. Similarly, if there is a match between a person like Wenzel or Aaryan, it will be again a testing of mental toughness for both the players. So that is happening, and it will definitely help these young people in future also.
Yeah, and I think the last few years with the not only COVID made people do things online, but technology has progressed a lot, and I think people have started to realize, hey, we can make a fun game out of this that has beneficial value. And you start just in the last year or so, we've seen a lot of mental math platforms that people in different countries have tried to build. We need someone who's a professional group of coders to put a commitment into it for a meaningful period of time. And I think we will find that soon. And I think we will be able to build something that can bring in more people, hopefully. But yeah, it's not just about, obviously for the people who do this know it, but it's not just about, learning arithmetic skills. Your mind benefits so much in different ways. And there are so many personality traits that can be improved just by competing in a sort of high stress environment that is challenging. Um, yes, and we do need to try to make more efforts out here in the West. As you've said, I am the only person alive from the United States who has meaningfully competed in the mental calculation World Cup. But we have highly educated and successful immigrant communities here from India and from East Asia that I think a lot of these families would very much enjoy to have their kids go through the training and the competitions. And so I will do my best